Hello, we're back with round two, episode 51 of Dissonant Waves. Hello, I'm
Should we start
Dominic.
again for a round three? Nah.
We're an amateur
Technical
podcast. We only
difficulties
have
caused us
to.
record again.
We only have to restart if we absolutely have to. So you missed all the great banter from the first time around. We all were talking. It was great. We were yelling over each other. Very uncharacteristic for this podcast. I'm Dominic. Ritalin and Tricks are here in various states of
Hello.
being.
Howdy.
And we got three albums to talk about. We got Speaking in Tongues by Talking Heads, Audio Video Disco by Justice, and of course, High Risk Behaviour by The Chats, the ultimate in 2020 pop punk, pub rock punk, shed rock punk, shed punk.
It's just pub rock.
What?
Don't fool yourself.
Isn't it shed rock or whatever they call it?
It's pub rock.
But they have like a name for it.
Yeah, it's called pub rock.
No, but the Chats have a name for it.
I don't know if the fucking chats got one, but their genre was fucking pub rock.
Yeah, they call it shed rock. That's their term.
Pub rock though.
I don't know. Take it up with the
Growing up
Chats.
listening to this music, it's fucking pub rock.
You should have beat them up about it at their concert that you went to.
Yeah, should have just gone to them and said it's fucking pub rock, and that totally would have allowed me to see him again. Yeah, that is what we were talking about before we before our round one fucked up is me at the Chats concert, and that's what I'd like to joke about is the Chats ending COVID in New South Wales because it was the last concert in New South Wales, one of the last. It probably was another one somewhere else before the restrictions ended, and they started around 9 p.m., 9:15 p.m. Restrictions ended at midnight. People were moshing around 9:30 p.m. So, yeah, technically an illegal concert. Security just could not could just not be fucked at trying to fix it. And like 10 minutes after they were trying to get everybody to sit down, they all just walked off and said, "Fuck it, we can't do anything." Pretty sure the COVID marshal said that as well. It was unstoppable. Like the second the support act started moshing, you just weren't gonna stop it.
And then,
Okay.
in America, they'd probably just arrest everybody and stop the concert.
There'd probably be a couple shots fired too.
And
Actually,
shots.
it's America. The people that are holding in gigs like that at the moment are alt-right members that'll probably get hugged.
Yeah, you're right.
I
Hey,
mean,
everybody want to go to the Trapped concert?
how about the Smash Mouth concert?
Well, the Trapped one was the one where they hosted only for members of the Proud Boys.
Really? I don't remember that.
Shit.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Not really.
Side note
Trapped
about
Twitter was
Smash
so
Mouth.
fucking funny.
Did I ever post in this chat the video of Steve Harwell drunk off his ass, threatening to beat the fuck out of the audience because they were throwing bread at him?
No, you didn't.
That's yeah, you did. No, you did.
Oh, you did?
I
No.
remember that one.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah. You could probably just search on
And,
Smash Mouth and find it again and make it our
Yeah,
monthly viewing.
Basically, he just starts threatening to beat the fuck out of somebody while the band just starts playing the intro to All Star on repeat. It's surreal.
They're true mystery men, those people.
Yes.
Smash Mouth has managed to be both based and not based at the same time.
I mean, that's really what you want to do in COVID times, Smash Mouths.
They posted all this stuff that was like pro trans rights and like pro all this like new mainstream music, which you wouldn't expect like a 90s ska band to kind of do. It's like, oh, cool, thank you, Smash Mouth, and then they do this.
Sturgis.
They're just ultra libertarians then.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Like, do whatever you want. Fuck everything else.
Anyway, let's go on to the main albums that we're doing. We were talking about the Chats concert. Let's go talking about High Risk Behaviour and how Trix spells Ute with a Y.
Hey, okay, I'm a greasy American. Spell Armalite.
What?
Spell Armalite. They're the makers
Don't
of
need
the
to.
AR-15.
Don't need to.
All right. Well, then how do you expect me to spell Ute correctly?
It's only 3 letters.
UTE.
I thought it was 4.
Now tell me, what is a Ute? Oh, I'm sorry, 2 youths.
Yeah, but like the term Ute isn't popular in America, and I get that. But like the actual car itself is somewhat used in America. It's just a
No,
pickup.
not. No, isn't it like specifically like an El Camino where it's like sedan in the front, pickup in the back?
Utes aren't too specific. There's many times, but it's mostly just like a flatbed at the back and 2 seats in the front.
Yeah, like very light duty trucks, pretty much.
Yeah. And it's most commonly used by tradies. I don't know if that term's used in America.
No, but you're describing the mullet of the
So-
cars, it sounds like.
So tradie is just trade work. So, or like contract work. So most commonly associated with plumbers or construction workers. Oh yeah, electricians as well. Although electricians don't usually use utes. So it depends. Some use vans because not all utes have good like cover.
That makes sense. But
That is a ute.
now that you've described high risk behavior by going to the concert, what is high risk behavior about?
It's a bunch of fuckers from the Sunshine Coast singing about the Sunshine Coast.
This isn't California.
I don't think you know what the Sunshine Coast is.
I'm pretty sure they also call it the Sunshine Coast out there.
So Sunshine Coast is another word for the Gold Coast area. It's not quite Gold Coast. I mean, Gold Coast I think is part of it, but it's more southeast Queensland.
There's a Chicago neighborhood called the Gold Coast. It's one of the richest parts of the city.
Is it the only rich part of the city?
No.
No, I think I'm Detroit.
Chicago,
Anyway.
Detroit. Yeah.
Detroit is far from the richest part of it, any place.
I think High Risk Behaviour is an album that we can get started on by having you two ask me questions about every part of the lyrics that you didn't quite understand.
I'm gonna be honest. Some of the lyrics just went in one ear and out the other.
Can you tell me what is identity theft? They kept singing about it. They kept shouting it.
Identity theft. So that seems to just be a song about going onto the internet or to the darknet, putting in information that you think will is secure and it's not getting it stolen, and then somebody using your identity.
Wait, people
Online.
do that?
Yes,
How dare they? That seems
it's
wrong.
a very common thing. It's more
Brings
common in
us to our
America than it is
sponsor.
here.
All he wanted to do was buy drugs on the internet. He was feeling invincible with his VPN. He said so himself.
Although the best part of that of identity theft is the music video where they decided to have the guitar solo just be a Guitar Hero. Well, yeah, like they actually made like the chart for Guitar Hero, and it's just played in
That's
there.
pretty great.
That's
Bugs
wonderful.
Bunny hero chart.
Now, I will say, it also came after a song called The Clap. Now, I know what The Clap is.
Good idea.
You know. But realistically, I was intrigued by their D&D songs, Drunk and Disorderly, Dine and Dash. And their songs about heat, like Stinker and Heat Stroke. They seem to have their defined topics that they like to talk about.
Yep. So Stinker and Heat Stroke. So up north Australia is usually the more hotter parts of the country, especially Queensland, and I mean there's a reason why it's called the Sunshine Coast. So yeah, that would be the reason why they write a lot of songs. They have a couple in their other ones that like kind of reference it. Like Smoko references the harsh summer heat of Queensland. But Stinker and Heatstroke seem to be the ones that are mainly only focused on that.
Okay. Jakes, do you have a question? Because I have another.
No. I most
Already
of the
told her
time
what a
just
U
been,
was, so
yeah.
So what is the meaning behind the title of track number 9? And before you say it, please try to say it like they say it.
I'm just trying to remember what track number 9 is. Give me a second on this. Sometimes I'm bad at counting. Russ River. Russ River!
Ross River!
So Russ River is just a disease that you can get from mosquito bites.
Oh.
Oh.
It sounded like another STD kind of thing. Fair enough.
There might be a bit of a reference to it. It seems to be a bit more metaphorical, but just because the way that it talks about it talks about people biting them and giving them Russ River, but it's not a human to human thing.
Gotcha. Now, refresh my mind if anyone can remember. Didn't we do a band that was like I think it was Dune Rats that were just kind of pretty much like druggies, right?
Yeah. Dune Rats are unapologetic with their songs being just about the amount of drugs they do.
Would you put the Chats in the same category?
I mean, yeah, they're both Brisbane, not Brisbane, sorry, Queensland bands. I think Dune Rats is Brisbane, they're Sunshine Coast, or Nambour, actually.
I mean, because Stinker describes a scene about like where they're living that's not pretty. Like, it's just full of piss and shit, and they wake up and it's just like fuck it.
There's also a metaphor, like a line that we have called "Get on the piss," which I don't know if you say in America.
No, I think that's like not a term here.
Yeah, so "Get on the piss" just means get drunk.
But yeah, so they black out and wake up to all their fucking room being trashed in the worst possible way.
Yep.
And then they're just like, fuck it, we're just gonna live like this.
Pretty much.
Mood.
I also like laying in my own feces. Yep.
I don't think it's quite literal with the piss and shit. I think that's supposed to be a metaphor for how the place looks.
Sure. I mean, I guess. I mean, when you describe it as being full of blood and everything, I mean, I guess I don't know. Maybe I'm being too literal.
Yeah. So there's a lot of lines in here that they use, which are common Aussie sayings, and stuff like "you look like piss" or "get on the piss."
Mm-hmm.
Like we really love the word piss.
I mean, if that's why they hate mullets so much, because they associate mullets with like that lifestyle, I understand, I guess.
The main guy has a mullet.
Right, like, and that's why I keep the grubs outs around, because they hate people like that, because those people just fucking trash their own place or whatever.
So, yeah, I don't know. Is the word grub used commonly in America?
Not in that way.
Because grub here usually means it's a way of saying troublemaker. Like if you watch like a rugby league game over here, we commonly call players whose main the main reason that we know with this player is because they love to piss off all the other players on the field. We usually call that person a grub.
Mm-hmm.
Which means all the other people are usually in these cases the people who are supporting a team that grub is on, and say he's our grub, and everyone else just calls him a fucking grub. It's a fun cycle. And keep the grubs out is just kind of, well, I mean, we have a pretty big pub culture in Australia,
right?
And with pubs comes kicking people out of them. So some managers and stuff like that, especially in clubs and pubs, if it's a busy night, will actually take a look at how a person is dressed or like how their haircut is, and if they think it's like associated with a type of troublemaker, they just tell them to fuck off, and they're well within their right to do so. You can go to clubs here if you're not wearing the right type of shoes; they'll tell you to fuck off.
Yeah, they do that in the States too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know. I feel like I would associate that with like higher end like clubs and stuff, not like a pub.
Pubs are very common. Well, I use the term tradie, but also like miners and diggers.
Right, I would always working class
to go to after work. Usually catch up with co-workers or other friends, have a beer. We can go that onto the song "Pub Feed," which has my favorite opening line: "Hanging out, having a punt because my rent's due at the end of the month."
Again, if you could imitate the voice, I would definitely appreciate it.
Hanging out, having a punt.
That was pretty good.
My rent's due at the end of the month.
Yes, doing it. That's good.
And I'm going to assume having a punt is not a common thing in America either.
No, does that have something to do with kicking a football?
No, so a punt is kicking a football, but the having a punt refers to putting a bet on a game.
Okay.
So that's why the line of the because my rent's due at the end of the month. That whole thing means he's at the pub gambling because he needs to win to pay his rent.
Okay.
He's gonna lose.
See, but that changes the whole context, because then it sounds like, oh, I'm just kicking back with a pint because I have existential dread about my rent being due. So fuck it, I'm just gonna have a beer now.
And then usually whilst you're at the pub, you usually go get yourself a feed, The common one being a chicken parmigiana, which is a chicken schnitzel, usually marinara sauce, and then topping on there if they want to add that, and then a side of chips. It's the most
sounds
classic
really fucking-
Australian pub food.
You did describe it pretty well.
Hmm.
It sounds real fucking good right now, but I haven't eaten carbs in like.
Chick's just gonna travel to Australia illegally for a palmy.
Parmigiana.
Yeah.
I mean, Pub Feed was the. It's not the lead single of this album technically, or I guess it is, but it was not the first single off this album, but it's definitely the strongest. I think it has the catchiest chorus out of all of them. I think the lyrics are just on point, and when you live in Australia, it's goddamn fucking relatable. I've gone to fucking pubs where they've just given frozen food as their fucking lunch. Give me a good pub feed.
I mean, there's places in the States that do that too, especially now with like the COVID thing where if you're a bar and you want to sell alcohol, you have to sell food. And so they'll give you like a frozen Hot Pocket.
God
Yeah,
damn.
that was a common thing for pubs back in the day as well, and that's what it is. It's because pubs have different opening times to regular bars,
Oh, really?
and that's why some bars would actually hand out like a all you can eat buffet full of just like this old ass food that was just barely allowed to be served, but that was enough for them to stay open another 5 hours. So plus
People-
we have a very strong gambling culture in this country,
right.
Yeah.
and pubs are usually always full of pokies. So if you watch the I'm pretty sure if you watch the music video for Pub Feed, I think there is a moment on there when they're on a poker machine, which is not I know that's not a common thing in America.
Having poker machine in the bar, kind of, but it's not usually like a serious like.
Well, you only have a couple of states that have legalized gambling, and those are pretty restricted themselves.
Yeah.
We have legalized gambling countrywide. We're one of the only countries to do that.
But like there's something that some bars can have like some kind of like slot machine-esque thing going on. But I'm not sure if it's like,
It needs to be like more skill based though, I think.
or is it like you get tokens or something?
Something like that.
Yeah, well, that's how it happens in Japan, because gambling is illegal there.
Pachinko. You
Yep,
can buy
pachinko's
balls,
technically-
though.
Yeah, you can buy the stuff to gamble with, fine, but you can't spend money directly as a way of gambling. That's why pachinko and stuff exist. Or, you know, those crazy ass Olympic racing games where just all that crazy shit happens. I think
Yeah.
Critical and Video Game Donkey have done a couple videos on them. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, you'd get tokens, put them in, and then if you bet on the right person, you'll get a number of tokens back, and then you exchange those tokens for money.
I mean, I
That's why
played
Japan has a strong arcade culture.
fair. I mean, I played Shenmue. They play pachinko all the time.
Mm.
Shenmue 2, that could be your job. Just play pachinko all day.
Hell yeah.
It's a lot. You know, the luck, the losing streaks, the winning streaks. It tells its own story.
A lot of the times with pachinko, you can they won't even give you the money in the pachinko place. You have to go like next door to like exchange a card for the money.
Right.
Anyway,
So it's an extra.
let's go back to high risk behavior before we forget.
What's the deal with Billy Backwash's day? Because I gather he's like a racist and just saying shit, right?
Yeah, I'm not a racist. I discriminate them all the same.
Yes, that kind of person.
So Billy Backwash's day is about Nambour. It's talking about the people who live there.
What do you mean by that, though? I'm not sure what that means.
Well, the whole song's in the perspective of a person who lives in Nambour, their hometown.
Oh, Nambour is a home. Okay, a town. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure what that word was. Because it's what is the word that Masatui was using? The native word.
Nam.
Yeah.
From Melbourne. Yeah.
I was getting that confused.
And I always just say from seeing the chats live, Better Than You is better live. It's a good song, but it's just better live.
Oh, you can absolutely tell that is a song made to be like live, and having them shout at you from like 2 feet away,
Yeah.
and
On a
like
car park rooftop.
or a garage, just like a straight up like
No.
family garage.
I mean, that's where we saw him. We saw him on a car park rooftop.
Car parks, just like they're like public things, right?
Public car park. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Parking lot.
Parking garage.
Any more questions on the Aussie slang in this album before I give a summary?
Not off the top of my head.
4573 is an area code, I believe, right?
Yeah, I believe that's the postcode.
Postcode, gotcha. I also appreciate the anti-cop do what I want. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Tell him to suck a dick. Go right ahead. Love it. I'm being serious too.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
It's like a fantasy thing.
we have our problems with police here. It's nowhere near as bad as America, but we've got our problems with police here too.
If someone pull you over, be like, "Yeah, man, not today." Whatever.
Well, I'll give my quick summary on this then. I think this album is the best work that the Chats have put out. Not that there's much of a discography to compare it to. It's definitely their most well-produced album, and it's really good that they've also, with this clean production, still made it edgy enough to keep the sound that the Chats do well. Like it would be weird to hear his voice so clean, and the way that it has this kind of rough static to it at times, especially in the clap where I think it's more prominent, it gives these songs a lot more life. My biggest problem with this album, and I feel like it's going to be the problem that you two have as well, is that it's not that. If you took the lyrics out, it's not unique at all. It is very much wearing its influences on its sleeves.
Yeah.
You could just tell me that this was a Adolescents tribute band that came from the Sunshine Coast, and I'd believe you.
I mean, it's different than the Adolescents. I think, like I was saying in chat.
Sorry, Descendants. Sorry.
I mean, what I was saying in the chat was that like, I think what a good punk act needs is like a distinctive vocalist.
And I think the Chats do have a pretty distinct vocalist.
Right. Because like the Adolescents, what do you think about? You think about that dude's voice.
I only remember Amoeba and that really shitty line of "I can't live in a world this gay." No way, no way.
I mean, yeah, that is a thing, and I still can't believe they fucking did that. But that dude's voice is very original.
Yeah, and there's the Liquids too, where you can't even fucking understand him.
But the lyrics and the vocals really do fucking shine on this album. Pub Feed was like my favorite of this album by a mile, because back in 2019 I even put it in my I think I put it in like 34 in my top 100 of that year. I almost had the clap in my 100 of last year as well.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't quite make it, but it's still a good song. I don't know if I'd even consider the clap to be the second best song of this album anymore, because I like Drunk and Disorderly. I like Ross River.
Is this the youngest band we've heard from?
I don't know if it's the youngest band that we've heard from.
Because they did meet in 2016 when they were 17.
I think they met way before that. I think they only started being a band in 2016.
Okay, from what I read, I thought they were pretty quickly meeting up and doing the thing, and they were fucking young as fuck.
I think they're tied with Beach Goons.
I was thinking of Beach Goons, yeah.
But they would have been only a couple years out of out of high school.
Yeah, they were at like a St. Teresa's Catholic College.
I mean, I graduated in 2015 from high school, so they would have graduated a year after me.
There was Pricey, Bogus, and Sandwith that were the original trio.
But a reason why we can also get a lot of these acts in Australia is we actually have a lot of high school bands uploading to Unearthed, and some of them do get quite popular. Triple J actually has an Unearthed contest every year, and sometimes they even end up making the Hottest 100 with their their competition entry.
I mean,
we've had 16 and 17 year. I don't know if that's 16 actually, but actually, because Silverchair made it back when they released Tomorrow.
I mean, that's what my local community needs, is just like a Triple J to like fucking channel all these high school bands that I grew up with.
Yeah, I think Silverchair might actually be the youngest recovered, because they were young as fuck when Frog Stomp came
Oh
out.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, so I think it's Silverchair.
I mean, there's like, I think legacy wise them. I'm also talking about like right now who.
Yeah, I wouldn't know then.
Probably Beach Goons or the chats. Yeah. I guess favorites, least favorites. You kind of said yours.
I didn't say my least favorite, but
Go ahead.
It's hard to give a least favorite on this album because there's nothing bad off it. It's just some songs don't get really too unique.
Yeah.
I guess the only one I would say kind of feels like filler is Keep the Grubs Out, but I don't know. It has its place there.
Mm-hmm. I don't really have a least favorite or a favorite. This album, I didn't really listen to this album as much as the other two. And,
Blunder.
Most of it just kind of went in one ear and out the other.
I will ask. I was going to ask this in a minute ago. You know why Price left the band?
I just don't think he was having fun with it anymore. Doesn't seem to be any creative conflicts. Doesn't seem to be any other issues.
Interesting. I mean, he was in the interviews I was reading. He was pretty vocal then. I wonder what happened. But
he probably just didn't enjoy it anymore. It happens.
He does. Totally does. I think my favorite songs. I like Identity Theft a lot. That's a great like shouty song. I think Ross River. I love the way he says Ross River. It for the simple fact I just love the way he says it.
Fair enough.
Do What I Want's a great like Fuck the Police song. The one song I just really didn't like as much was Pub Feed.
Really? Maybe that's just because you're not cultured.
I part of it's again his voice. As much as I love Ross River, I don't like his vocals as much in Pub Feed.
You don't go to the pub. You don't have a punt. I get it, Dominic.
Especially the last line. I just did not like the way he delivered it. There's just something about it that just got on my nerves. A little bit.
I mean, fair enough.
All I want is a good pub feed.
Yeah, no, he does not sing it that way.
Yeah, sure.
Anyway.
But it's a trivial thing, because like you were saying, this is a pretty consistent album. There's not a lot of like good, like strong or like super weak. It's all pretty like even and good. Problem is, the other two albums I think are stronger.
I'm tying the chats with what I'm gonna make us do as number 2 now, with Justice.
Yeah, let's talk about audio video disco. Like
because the sound is different. This is a lot more like cleaner in its production, but it suffers the exact same problems as the chats does, and the chats has more of an identity to the album.
I disagree completely in that I think this album is unique and the sound is unique.
Disagree completely.
Like, it does not sound like Daft Punk very much. It does not sound like anything else Justice has done.
Chicks, you wanna back me up on this?
Yeah, I mean, you can really tell the Daft Punk influences are there.
Thank you.
Sure, they're there, but like the more I listen to it, like, but like it's not like we just listened to Discovery. Like, yes, they're sampling.
But Daft Punk's not just Discovery.
I mean, sure, we have Human After All as well, but even then, Human After All has different tones and different vibes.
I'll put it this way: it's what the chats are to the Descendants. It's not what Greta Van Fleet is to Led Zeppelin.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's better or worse.
It's you would rather be on a chat side.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's sounding more like a fan influenced by a prior acts more than a direct ripoff.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I think there are very strong influences from not just Daft Punk, but a lot of the house musicians at the time. Granted, this is the French house music scene. There was probably going to be a lot of crossover.
Sure.
And it gets that benefit over the chats for its time period apart. I don't know exactly what year Audio Video Disco was. I can't
2011.
check that right now.
October 2011. Yeah. Like I was saying last week, this is the album that got me into modern music. So I am a little biased. But I also went into this week thinking that I was not going to enjoy it. It was like, oh, I surely will not enjoy it as much as I used to. But
don't get me wrong. Despite these complaints I'm having about it, I still enjoyed the album. I think it's a fine listen.
Because like we didn't listen to Cross yet, and I do want to do Cross at some point. But Cross is so dark and like
I have a feeling Cross. I have a feeling it'll probably interest me a lot more.
Sure, but I mean, Cross is very dark and like party heavy, and this is very like they described it as being like kind of a daytime album and kind of like I think the cover art really does it well, like the overcast skies and the sun shining through and the giant fucking cross there, looking the way it does.
Well, fuck it. You want the words that are gonna have you kill me?
Sure.
I'm actually not surprised that this album is from 2011 anymore because it has the exact type of vibe that a lot of electronic music, especially that was trying to be mainstream, had in 2011. Do you remember what genre was popular in 2011, Dominic?
Dubstep.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Your
point being?
Especially towards the end of this album and the EP and the Planisphere. I'm calling it an EP even though it's kind of a single. It's confusing enough.
Planisphere, worth pointing out, was made in 2008 for a fashion show of all things, and then added on.
We'll give it points for that then. It's ahead of time.
Yeah.
No. Again, no complaints about its sound or anything like that. I still think this holds up enough. But that's what I go for. It's inspired by its contemporaries, and you can tell. And it wears it a little too much on the sleeve. It's like, yeah, you can see the dub punk, you can see the dubstep influences on it. It's not heavy dubstep, like the Skrillex or the Nero of that time.
I mean, like Ohio gets pretty dubsteppy, I guess. But like, I don't know. I'm thinking of like when Muse did dubstep. That was like a pretty direct thing.
Yeah, that one was going near the Grand Event. Like Muse had a couple moments on that album that was actually alright.
I really like that album, personally.
And then everything else is shit. It was 50-50.
I mean, Drone's coming out after that. It's like, was just...
Drones is shit, and Ash is staring at me badly for that because she likes that album. Just a 50... Going on to that Muse, because we're never going to cover that album.
Yeah, we're not going to cover
it. Me off, Ash. Second Law, Unsustainable. I know it's not the greatest Muse song out there, but I actually still respect the shit out of that song because Muse was trying something completely different.
Right.
Madness and Follow Me are like the only good songs off that album. Supremacy's alright.
Supremacy's great.
Yeah. Those like the good songs off that album, and then everything else, which is way too much influence, is like, especially Unsustainable.
Sure.
But I mean, like, points for trying hard to be something different. Drones just did not do that.
Dead Inside's a fine song. That's about it.
Nothing off that album hit me.
But anyway, like I don't think like even songs like Ohio don't quite go that far. Like if you want to say like Planisphere is like early dubstep, maybe I can agree with that. But I think Planisphere is so different in itself. Like Planisphere to me is like a huge like cinematic experience. It's very like directed. It tells like a story basically.
Planisphere is probably the most interesting thing of this whole listen. Sorry to interrupt you.
And I feel like it still kind of dragged ass a little bit sometimes.
It was a 5-part EP originally. I mean, probably for Dwar Hom summer thingy, whatever, 2009. Apparently, Daft Punk had done a similar thing for Louis Vuitton in 2007. But yeah, I don't know.
I mean, French electronic artists and fashion designer clothes, probably a good match in the noughties.
Sure.
Yeah.
But like something like Horsepower though, that's more rock influenced. You know, that's more. I don't know, like what, like having like when in their live albums when they like feature Metallica on their mixing board, like that makes a lot more sense to me with this album being here.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think it's the first live album Across the Universe that ends with fucking Master of Puppets. And so it's like, okay, Horsepower being this like, it's still electronic, but it has a lot of guitars. It has more of a rock influence. It's not as much. It's housey, but not as not like a Daft Punk kind of housey. When you get to like On and On or something or Brian Vision, that's a little bit more, I think, the usual thing. But stuff like Horsepower, Civilization, that's going in a completely different direction.
Mm-hmm.
And then we all stayed silent, trying to think of anything else to say about this album. Therefore, proving.
I mean, Trix, you were talking about the Baroque influences you liked a lot.
Yeah, there was quite a bit of like Baroque influences. Like they'd play like a Bach riff, pretty much, basically. I think it was before like Planisphere and Brian Vision.
Okay.
And I think I made the joke: is that a prequel to WandaVision? Ha 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 ha.
I thought you meant more than like how it was Baroque influence in that there were not as clear like melodies. It wasn't like traditional pop songs, and that there was like the clear hook and then like the repetition. A lot of the stuff was more progressive.
I was going more Baroque influence and like, oh, there's like actual Baroque music parts in here.
Sure. I mean, when we talk about Cross again, I there like the one of the songs in there is just Carmen, but it's not Carmen. That's a different story. I like stuff too, like the trick they pull in Parade, where they just like, oh, the parade's going by, and then like it fades out, like the parade is past, and then it comes back up. Like just stupid gimmicks like that. I always go for.
Mm-hmm.
I could tell the story about how Horsepower. No, it was Civilization for me, where the first time I heard Civilization, I literally could not understand what I was listening to. Like, it was so hard for me to like understand the beat of it. So hard to just to process what was going on. That I became obsessed with the album a lot because it's like I'd never had a reaction like that. Like Civilization is such a weird song.
Fair enough, yeah.
And like I don't know, I dig how it's like heavier, but like rock heavier, not like I don't know, like heavier house music necessarily. Like, I know you keep comparing it to house music, and I can kind of get that, but like
That's the reason I compare it to house music, because it's house music.
right,
Yeah.
but like there's something about it that's the rock influence that really interests me, and that like the heavier rock influence, because it's like if you tried to make, I think Human After All tried to do this kind of. I think this does it better because it makes it more organic.
I'll give you that. Human After All had like some production issues, and it sounded a bit too harsh to my ears. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, Human After All has some bangers. I mean,
Sure.
they basically just took Sweetwater's "Release the Beast" and put lyrics over it.
Like influencing, but like the rock and the electronica house, like this feels like that was all put together as part of like the language of the album.
Yeah.
Like some of the sounds on this album I could not describe to you in like a clear way of like what is it actually trying to be.
Yeah.
And as far as like the long songs that we've covered to end an album, Planisphere is probably the best one.
Just wait until we do clippings, piano burning.
Yeah.
18 minutes of a piano on fire.
Okay, that sounds kind of cool. I heard a piano fall off a stage once, and holy shit, that was the loudest sound.
Was the Roadrunner underneath?
No, it was just it just fell like 5 feet off of the stage at our high school.
Fair.
And like you could hear it all the way across the building.
I also appreciate the boldness of their weird lyrics for stuff like Ohio, Tennessee, California, endlessly rain on. Let's just worship 3 random United States. Nothing special about them, but there they are. Oh, and Ritalin.
So the good. I just want to talk about, because I pressed the piano burning thing. The greatest part about this, I've listened to it in full, and there's like just random moments where like you'll hear a piano note.
Yeah, probably when the strings snap, right?
Yep, it's so fucking funny.
Also, Riddle, this is fun for you maybe. Do you know who is on the Ohio track? Who guests on it?
Who guests on Ohio? Do I know who guests on Ohio?
They're from an Australia band.
Do I know who goes and guest
Googling
vocals
it.
on? Do I know? Do I? Come on, fucking Google.
Is the name Vincent
Yeah.
Vendetta mean anything to you? Does the name Midnight Juggernauts mean anything to you?
Oh yeah, actually, no, I do know Midnight Juggernauts. They had a I didn't know too much about In Depth of them, but they had a song called Into the Galaxy, and Tombstone was another one that fucking great.
Well, I believe it's just the singer Vincent Vendetta who was on that. So in the same way,
I knew this the whole time.
Yes, in the same way that Daft Punk got their features that are kind of there, but they're not super like mainstream popular, but they're interesting. I think Justice does the same thing. Because you got Ali Love, you got Midnight Juggernauts guy, you got Morgan Phelan, and that's about it.
Actually, not gonna lie, it's been a long time since I've listened to Midnight Juggernauts. But because I'll probably never cover them. We found a deluxe CD of their second album, and the reason why that is it's so good to have is that there's a song that Midnight Juggernauts has called Vital Signs, and there's a cover of it by Tame Impala on the deluxe CD only.
Okay.
And it's not on Spotify.
Damn.
Interesting.
When you said Vital Signs, my brain went immediately to Rush.
But it's also one of Tame Impala's most loved covers, so.
And then Morgan Phelan is from a band called Diamond Knights from New York. So Trix, there you are.
Oh yeah.
In that band also is Rob Loxo, who is the dude who does a lot of shit with Kurt Vile. That's cool. Going back to fucking Avalanches. I don't know.
I never really listened to much Kurt Vile, not gonna lie. I listened to a bit of War on Drugs though.
I don't know. I really dig this album. Like, it's not
That's
the thing
very,
that
you're
it's
allowed
not
to dig it.
No, I'm not obsessed with it anymore. Like, I think like the Civilization demo that they include on the special editions, it's like, why is this here? It's kind of a cool demo, but it's like you don't need it. It's not anything special. Like there is a certain amount of like fake gravitas I feel like they do bring. Like we don't need a 20-second interlude to canon of all things.
Yeah.
But I don't know, this album holds up enough. I'm happy with it.
I don't really have a favorite or a least favorite. Not gonna lie, because it's the same thing as the chats. I think it's consistent. I think they've executed it well enough. I enjoyed the listen. Nothing really stands out too big. Maybe fucking On and On would probably be my favorite,
Interesting.
but it's not really that far ahead.
Trix?
I'm gonna agree with Riddle on this one. Pretty consistent, and yeah.
I mean, it is pretty consistent. I'll give you that. I think for me, highlights are like Horsepower, Civilization, and it's not the title track. I mean, Audio Video Disco is the title track, but apparently they named the song after the album as their official story for that. So whatever.
Yeah, I do that.
But to me, the highlight, even though it's not technically supposed to be there, is Planisphere. Like, that is a whole experience into itself, and that is, like... It's a great song. I really love it. Like, it is so... It's like its own little mini symphony of... It's a whole vibe. It's a whole, like, story from beginning to end. And to think that it's a fashion show soundtrack blows my mind, because that's a fucking, like... 18-minute action music video waiting to happen. Anyway, probably the album we can all agree on then is Stop Making Sense, or not Stop Making Sense, Speaking in Tongues.
Yes.
Now, do I
man,
talk about the album, or do I just talk about the time I was high and watch Stop Making Sense?
Oh, I should say my least
I'm
favorite
planning
track
on doing
on
that on my birthday.
my least favorite
Oh.
track on AVD is probably Canon Primo. It's 20 seconds. It doesn't matter. Anyway, keep going.
Tricks.
Album good.
Yeah, it'd be a good album. David Byrne is a weird man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he is like the definition of eccentric.
Big suit.
Yeah, he wanted to make his head look smaller.
And the only way to do that was to make the clothes bigger.
Yep.
That's a Galaxy Brain take there if I've ever heard one.
Smart man. I mean, this is a great album. I think the hottest take is gonna be that This Must Be the Place. It's one of the weakest songs off here.
It's fine.
I'll give you that, but
I didn't say it was
one
bad.
of their most
Just
Right.
one of the most mainstream songs.
I agree.
And it stands on its own.
I agree completely. I'm just like, it's fine. It's kind of there. It's like a little. It's like a relaxing track more than anything.
Burning Down the House though is a fucking highlight. Burning
yeah.
down the house.
Girlfriend is Better is
That,
pretty
like,
good.
Swamp where it just gets like real dirty and like grungy kind of almost, like not grungy.
Plus,
Like, you can hear the twang.
yeah. Pulling Up the Roots is so catchy though, too. Like, as far as hooks go, I think that and Burning Down the House are probably the catchiest ones.
I mean, Burning Down the House is also one of the only memories I can remember truly of watching Stop Making Sense, like just of the songs, because they just performed that so well. But that and David Byrne doing Psycho Killer all by himself.
Oh yeah, with the boombox and the acoustic guitar.
Stop Making this is like the only time that we'll probably get to talk about Stop Making Sense, because Stop Making Sense was the tour for this album, I believe.
Yeah. I've not seen the movie. I probably should.
So the whole point, you're apparently supposed to watch it while you're on acid, but I watched it while I was high. It's on the classic harmless stuff, and I didn't get that confused. So maybe I should stop being a coward and just take some LSD.
I mean, the ironic thing is that next movie I'm gonna watch is David Byrne's only movie he directed, True Stories, which came out in '86, so not long after this. But
there was definitely in Stop Making Sense. There's all these moments, and if you don't want any spoilers for this concert, Dominic, that just in the case that you don't know about him, speak now or forever hold your peace.
I will listen. I want to hear about it.
So there are just very odd moments that they do in this concert, which usually is a bit of a no-no for doing concerts. Like bringing in each member individually, and you're doing a song before each member is just odd. Usually you bring them out all in the first song.
Right.
Yep.
Or if you have an intro song, maybe you don't have like the singers or the main band. Maybe you have like the backing band starting off first, and then in the second song, everybody hits in. Because when I went to see DMAs, that's how they did it. But in here, it's like there's a song as each member's introduced.
That sounds cool to me.
And then this whole backing band comes with him. They're all great. There's moments where just David Byrne will just go off the stage and he'll come back just different. Like the big suit just happens.
That's wonderful.
And one of my favorite moments is like he would go out. There'll be periods where he's not singing, so he just does laps around the fucking stage. Comes back, he was like sing a word, and then just do a fucking another lap around the stage.
I mean,
that's David Byrne.
And then there's also the interview that he like does with all these characters that are played with himself. That's a part of the DVD.
the blackface thing comes there, right?
Yeah. It's kind of weird because it's not done that distastefully, but it's still blackface.
Yeah.
But he went out and apologized for it, I believe.
He did.
Like, yeah, so it's a real product of the times.
I mean, he definitely has like a different view of things, I think, in terms of like music and like what goes together. I think he's also like very cultured in his music. He has a lot of different influences.
Oh yeah, if you read the like the Wikipedia page, is like there's like inspiration. It's like all sorts of like African music, that sort of thing. And just a whole bunch of like everything.
and then you see the list of bands that have been inspired by Talking Heads, and you probably couldn't fit it on a Wikipedia page.
Oh yeah.
And
They
so
pretty much inspired the whole new wave movement.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's like I've only heard a few Talking Head songs here and there before. I never really sit down and listen to them much. And I mean, you were right, Trex, that I just really like them now because this is really something different.
Yeah, it's impossible to not like Talking Heads.
Well, if you don't have taste.
I don't know if my dad really likes Talking Heads very much. He said, I asked him, he said he likes the cover of Take Me to the River, but that's about it.
My brother got massively into them like last year and just bought all the CDs. He still likes them. He was just like getting into them. I've had friends who just majorly into Talking Heads as well. Mostly they prefer to listen to Remain in Light over this album, but this album's never really considered, or no Talking Heads album's really considered bad. So
I just like the way like he comes at every song. I feel like he just kind of does what he wants to do with like the way he sings. You know, like the beginning of Making Flippy Floppy is great. Just sounds like he's horrified at whatever's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has a really distinct singing style that just works so well. He kind of, it's like he's talking and singing at the same time.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. I do like the line in Making Flippy Floppy where he's like, "Have you heard what the president said?" Just talks about how crazy Reagan was for a second.
That's cool. And was that the song? Was that where the... Was it, which song quote Stop Making Sense? Is it... What is it?
That is Girlfriend is Better.
Okay.
Stop making sense.
Stop making sense.
Although, Stop
Our
Making
president's
Sense
crazy.
live album.
Did you hear what he said? What the exact line is?
The Stop Making Sense live album is actually on Spotify.
It is. It's fun to listen to.
Maybe I'll listen to it sober.
I mean, at some point, I would not be against doing Stop Making Sense as well. I'll put it out there.
Yeah, maybe we can do another like Interstellar 555 sort of deal with it.
Eventually, yeah. Like it's just constantly funky, but like in different ways and interesting ways.
Yeah.
It's also probably the most interesting live album out there, or like live DVD.
Stop Making Sense, yeah.
It's considered one of the best live concert DVDs ever.
And we found a yellow card live DVD from when they had their Ocean Avenue album. So we have a real high bar here.
It's like a wheel inside a wheel.
I don't have much like live albums like on DVD at all. It's never been my thing, but I do have the Tism one, which is that was on the White album. If you got the deluxe edition, and it's the Telephone concert where you had to raise enough money, and if you did, Tism would continue to be a band. And it was like $1 million, and at the end of the concert, it goes to show that they haven't even got like 1,000.
That's wonderful.
So good. It wasn't their last concert though, because I'm pretty sure their last concert was the Bush Doof one.
But that's the election one, right?
Yeah. On behalf of Tism, I'd like to concede that we have lost the election.
Yeah.
A fantastic live album, by the way, because they keep playing like 30-second snippets of their songs, and they like really change it into a DJ mix.
I always appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate that stuff. Like, I don't have that many live album DVDs. I think I have the AFI one, live at Long Beach Arena.
I found on a clearance section at a JB Hi-Fi, which I don't expect you two to know. I found City in Colors 2 live albums on clearance for like $3 each. So that's the Europe 2011 and the other live album. I believe the Europe 2011 is not even on Spotify.
I have Justice's first live album on CD, and that comes with a DVD, but it's a documentary about Justice.
I should look for all the live albums I have, because I have a shit ton in there.
That documentary also does not make Justice look good at all, I should say. They fucking look like fucking creeps at the end of it.
Oof.
Because
I have Daft Punk Alive, actually.
Because like, what is it? One of the guys in Across the Universe, he marries a groupie in
Oof.
in reference to someone who also did it. Who did it? Who were they referencing? Shit. Axl Rose.
Every rock star did something like that.
But Justice is just a French house duo.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Anything else to say about Talking Heads? Because there should be a lot, but I'm like out of words to say now.
It's a great album, and you really should go listen to it. It helped kind of define the new wave genre as a whole, and I think that this must be the place is one of the best love songs written.
Have you seen the movie where he appears also?
I have not.
It's nothing about Talking Heads or David Byrne at all, but the title is This Must Be the Place, so of course he has to appear. And from what I remember, like, Sean Penn's character, he's like a fucking, like, aged goth rocker. He goes to visit David Byrne, he's got this fucking, like, contraption that's like an organ or something with, like, a bunch of strings attached to it. It's very interesting and appropriately weird.
I'll have to track down a copy then.
I don't know, like, this is again another very solid album. There were not a lot of bad songs this week at all.
No. But next week there will be.
I feel like
before we talk about those, let's go into our rankings.
Yeah, I feel like everyone's currently dying. Let's do our least favorites and least favorites first. I love
favorites Burning Down the House.
Burning Down the House is great. Pull Up the Roots is also right up there with me. My least favorite's probably Moon Rocks, because that's the one I remember the least.
I'll give you that one. I barely remember Moon Rocks too, and I've listened to this album quite a few times.
I think I'm going to fully agree with Dominic on this one.
Cool.
Yeah.
Next, anything else?
And yeah, I'll just Moon Rocks because I don't really remember too much about it, and I've listened to this album a lot, and I really like this.
Yeah. Like, for me, like, I think Chat's number 3 for me. And then it's just, like, the other two are very close up there for me. But if I were to be honest with myself, I think Talking Heads pulls it ahead just by a little bit. Because it's so original. Whereas Justice is, you know, a thing that we've heard a little bit before.
Look, I have the Chats and Justice tied as number 2. I'm going to stand by that. Neither of them are even close to this one.
Because Justice, I have bias, but yeah.
I'm going to have some tricks is in the exact same boat as me.
Yeah, Chad's Justice, Talking Heads.
Yep. I think we're pretty much in agreement, except that you're definitely tied for number 2 on that.
I'm just tied. Like, they're both number 2.
Yeah. I mean, but yeah.
I think this is one of those weeks where one of these albums could have been a number 1 any other week. Well, not any other week, but like they could have been another week and they could have won it. So
definitely.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the Chats would have a little bit less of an easy time doing that, but I feel like there'd be weeks where they could win.
I don't think they're that far. Like, I know I've tied them in Justice and you two put them at number 3. I don't think they're that far behind Justice.
The Chats is something we also heard quite a bit. Kind of.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm going to be honest, I listened to Liquids a few times this week too, alongside the Chats, and I think I like Liquids better. So.
I get that. That's like the Chats for me is less more Australian. That's going to hit me a lot more.
Yeah, fair enough.
And I don't think I'll have the same relationship with the Chats that I had with Dune Rats last year, where Dune Rats kept getting better for me.
Now, let's go into the selections for next week, and I'm taking a look at Dominic's pick at the moment there. It has 11 monthly listeners, making me think that it could be quite possible that Dominic is at the top here, especially since the song that is written about you is number 2 on their most played at the moment.
I also, on their Bandcamp, I have purchased all their available things, and I am like one of like a handful. Their Polarity EP, I am the only one who supported it. The album itself, I am one of like 4 people. and the Better All Along demos, one of two people. But just to say it, I'm doing Cardinal Heart finally. The high school band of the people I went to high school with, the one boy I had a crush on, who did not like me back, got really, and it's a mutual petty thing at this point. But we're doing the whole thing.
I'm just saying, you haven't written a song about him yet. You kind of had to catch up.
Yeah, I kind of want to talk about it and vent a little bit and just get that out of my system finally.
Call it a song called "Why the Fuck Do People I Ask Out Write Songs About Me?"
And so we're doing their live performances, the two that are on YouTube. We're doing, and I do want to stress that I want you guys to listen to the single version of their one song, the Polarity EP version of that one song, because Between Your Friends and My Friends thing, this I would argue that this version is better, and this is the version that should have been a thing and not the other one.
I know already that my problems with this album are going to be with the pretentiousness of it. When
Yes.
you have a person called Lindsay Field and you decide, oh, I got a voicemail from them. Let's call the song Finzy Lild.
And I know her, and it's like I would not be surprised if that was genuinely a genuine voicemail.
Well, I'm gonna say my choices for next week, because this is going to be one of the most annoying mixes of music and the most interesting mixes of music I think I can possibly put out here. I am doing Farrah Abraham's My Teenage Dream Ended, plus an album that came out in December, or maybe not that, last year, which I describe as if the kid in that album ended up making an album in the same vein, the Emily Montes mixtape, which goes for around 5 minutes, and it's self-titled, and I just want to kill you all.
It says Emily Montes by Emily Montes?
Yep.
I think I might actually have you beat with at least horrible concepts for albums, because I'm doing the bass player for the Ramones rap album called Standing in the Spotlight by D.D. King. And
That's even on Spotify.
It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube Music.
Yeah, because it's on Spotify. I think he's telling everyone to fuck off.
DD is in DEE. DEE.
Yep. Oh, maybe it is. What's the album called? Nope.
Standing in the Spotlight.
There is none. It is not on Spotify. I think he must have realized how shit it was.
Or does he? Is it under?
It's streaming on YouTube. It's
is it
streaming
under,
on YouTube Music normally.
Does he have it under? Does he have it under DD Ramone possibly?
I'll post it what it is here. Yeah, this has a song that features Debbie Harry of Blondie.
Perfect.
And there's an interesting story about that song that I'll get into off air.
Okay.
Well, I want to save it for next week, so.
So, I mean, we have the whole gamut here of albums that are either misguided or just bad. We have official studio releases. We have, people just putting shit out that they made, kind of self-promoted high school bands.
I searched up Standing in the Spotlight on Spotify and only found one album, and my god, is that cover so fucking good.
And then we have
might just be awesome.
It looks like it's one of those fucking a Playboy for women shoots.
Shout out to John Zygmunt, I guess.
2003, baby. Still putting it on Spotify.
Good for him.
Yeah, it's 2000. He hasn't got any. He's got one monthly listener. I'm more popular than him.
Is
one subscriber on YouTube?
Cardinal Heart's more popular than them.
Actually, holy shit. Let's check something before we go, lads. Is it true? I'm just as popular as Cardinal Heart. I got 11 monthly listeners.
Holy shit.
Oh man.
Fucking fight to the death, boys.
All right.
Dominic, I don't think you've listened in the past month on Spotify. You be the change in this world you want to see.
I bought all their album. I supported them enough. I have a.
But you listen to me. You make me better than Cardinal.
Oh, damn it! Wow.
All you had to do is listen to one song. It's done. Cardinal Heart can't respond to that.
I also have a CD version of In the Clouds, their album, somewhere in my house. I don't know where it is. Maybe I destroyed it because I got upset.
Yeah, I'd do that.
I doubt it, though.
Now, here's the true question. Am I more popular than that guy with one monthly listener in the Netherlands? Because I might be. Because for some reason, all my fucking listeners are just in different countries.
Oh, so Netherlands specifically.
Nah, that guy's more popular in the Netherlands. Fuck. This is the worst day ever. Oh.
Well, if I ever make you guys gift baskets of things, I could probably send y'all some Cardinal Heart stickers. I think I have some still.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Some shit you don't want. Anyway, this has been a fun recording. Next week's going to be the funnest train wreck ever. Until then, I have been Riddlin. You can catch me at my website, riddlinforkids.github.io. I have a YouTube channel I post nothing on. Whatever. I also have a Bandcamp which I'm releasing absolute shit press on, and that's making me just as popular as Cardinal Heart. So, be the change that you want to see in this world and support my music. It's free to download, but if you want to send me like a small donation of $1,000, go ahead. Go ahead.
I've been Trix. You can catch me online at procrastinaut_. That's like procrastinating astronaut. Then _. I'm currently trying to get blocked by Scott Adams, so ignore all of the questions of me asking if Dilbert is circumcised.
I reckon he is.
Probably, but like I want confirmation from the creator himself. And catch us all at Dissonant Waves on Twitter and dissonantwaves.space.
And I'm Dominic. I'm on Twitter at DACICHOCKI. I have written for Tilting Mill Studios in the past. I've written for Medium a little bit. Not that you'd ever have read my articles about games, but I'm on there. I have an account. I have articles that are published. Other than that, maybe you'll hear from me somewhere else. Who knows? I'm mostly on this podcast. If you listen to the Games My Mom Found podcast, I've now guested on there 3 times. Maybe you're from there. Congrats if you are. But that's going to do it for us, unless anyone else has anything to say.
Buy my album.
Buy all of our albums. Even Trix's. Even though it's not really for sale, I don't think.
No.
Buy it anyway.
Maybe I'll turn it into an NFT.
Send her money.
Goodbye.